Hey, this is Jim Howard with Trinity Security Allies. I wanted to come out tonight and talk about something that I read in the paper the other week. And even though I haven't seen it happen in churches yet, it does concern me just because of the temperature right now that we're seeing, how one side, one political party seems to be feeling about Christians and people that go to church. So I kind of want to jump into it, and I titled it Bird Dog because of something that I read the other day in the news. I opened up my internet and I came across Brett Bart because I heard of this thing called Bird Dog. And I really wasn't for sure what it was. And you can see here it's radical leftists threaten to bird dog conservatives at home and church. When I looked into this more, it says radical leftists staged a rally near the Capitol targeting the Heritage Foundation, which is working on Project 2025 to staff a potential Republican administration and counter left wing influence. Well, at the same time, the activists threatened Heritage Foundation staffers and launched a nonprofit called Stop the Coup of 2025, aimed at preventing Trump's reelection. The coalition included radical groups and uses inflammatory language to oppose Project 2025. Now, online, I found this guy here that was talking about the bird dogging, and this is what he had to say. So listen.
We need to go find out where they live, where they go to church, who they hang around with, and bird dog their asses.
So this was at the rally, and this is kind of where I started to get a little bit concerned because we talk about mental health in the church and the different issues that we're seeing with mental health. And so, like I said, I'm going to continue on this. I'm going to build this foundation, this case to where I'm going with this. And you'll see at the very end why I'm saying these things that I'm saying. So, of course, MSNBC Joy Reid, she analyzed the state of Iowa after the caucus where Trump won up there like 52%. And she made the statement of all the things that we think about electability, about what are people gaming out. But none of this matters when you believe that God has given you this country. That is that it is yours, and that everyone who is not white, conservative Christian, is a fraudulent American, is a less real American. Then you don't care about electability. You care about what God has given you. It's a religion, she said. And I don't think what we have, and I think, she said, and I think what we have to actually confront, and that is what the Democrats are going to face, is now what white evangelicalism is. It is Christian nationalism. That's the name of it, right? So on national TV, a news reporter comes out and starts talking about white Christians. She's basically saying that we're racist because unless you're white, not unless you're white, conservative Christian, you're a fraudulent American and you are a less than a real American. And then she goes on and calls it Christian nationalism, which the left uses that as kind of a derogatory term. Now, I would consider myself a nationalist because I believe in this country and I believe that we have the right to have our own borders and that we have all these other rights that have been given to us. But now she seems to be coming out and just really ripping the Christian, conservative Christians out here. So when we look at the things that are saying, like I said, we had the guy that said bird dog. We had the guy, now we have Joyce, I'm sorry, Joy Reid making her statement. So with that, if you take a stand, like you look at what, I mean, we said this at the conference this year. I stand with Israel. Now, this was right after the massacre in Israel from the Hamas. And we just made it a point that we were going to let people know that Trinity Security Allies stands with Israel. And so this would start to be something that people would look at and maybe start to come after us. And so what we have to do is we have to understand this might not just be bird dogging at your house or home, but we'll talk about some of the other places that this might happen also. So when I started thinking about this, my good friend Simon Osselman with Kingswood Security Consulting did a he did a webinar of where he said connecting the dots, a case study of the Sutherland Springs church shooting. And basically what he was talking about was all the red flags that should have been noticed or could have been noticed if it had been put out there so that we could notice it, that happened with Sutherland Springs, that maybe we could have stopped it. Now, even though I agree with Simon, there was a lot of red flags out there. The problem that we run into is that we did not have access to those red flags. So because of that, Sutherland Springs happened. But he brought up that an organization called the Violence Project, which was a study done by psychologist Dr. Gillian Peterson and sociologist Dr. James Dinsley. They kind of came up with these four commonalities that they saw in all active shooters or mass shooters or active shooters. And what they saw was the trauma and abuse. Mass shooters have been sexually abused. Mass shooters have been exposed to extreme violence, parental neglect, and witness homicide. So they go through this crisis and speaking about doing suicide. And they all display a recognizable crisis point in their lives. This is often a suicidal crisis. Now, mass shootings are not just homicides, they are suicides. They no longer care if they live or die. Now, this is the part I want us to pay attention: script and validation. Mass shooters study other mass shooters. They go online, research, copy, and follow. I think there needs to be a little more added to that because they also go into the dark web and they go to websites that talk about mass shootings. And this is where the validity comes in. They talk to other people that encourage them to do the things that they're doing, that point that this is how they can do it. Make sure you do this. I mean, they go through all these things that they really point out and validate. And sometimes they live vicariously through these people. I do know, like the Buffalo Tops shooting, the grocery store shooting, that person had been out online for a while talking about it. There's other ones that we can point to that where we see people have been online and they've been talking about this and they get the validity of it, but also they study it and they see where other people have done it, manifestos, all the different things like that, which cause them to be validated. So then we talk about the access and the means. Now, in the access and the means, and you're talking about an active shooter, it says you need the means and access to carry out the act. And that there is a gun, there are gun laws and policies play a role, but these people in active shooters get guns. We see this one in Houston. This woman had bought guns. So when we start to see things like that, if we take a look at all this that's going on, anybody that might be going through mental health issues and is looking for validation can come across a point of where they find these groups and they start to lean into these groups and they start to listen to these groups and people start to encourage them to do things. Then all of a sudden we have this commonality right here. This thing that we're looking at right here now all of a sudden just really comes out and we can see it. And what concerns me is the access and the means. It doesn't have to be a gun now. You can just make your voice known by coming into a church and disrupting the church service. Now, one of the things I think we're going to see, and I think this is where we just got to pay attention, especially to what's going on to the church and even individuals, even your own place. I mean, I know as us, as Trinity Security Allies, we've run into this, and this is the social media. Now, in the social media environment, people can say whatever they want to. And so these are just things that we need to make sure that we're paying attention to our social media. I know that a lot of times when we put out stuff or events that were happening, we get what Wendy calls trolls that come out and complain because we're charging or complain because we're talking about church security, that God protects us all, and why are you just ripping people off, and why are you spreading hate and fear and all these different things like that? Well, you know as well as I do, if you were to come to one of our events, you would see that we don't spread hate. That's the last thing that we do. And, I'm not even going to get into it why we charge. It's just that we have to look at it as a business aspect at times. I mean, listen, if I could give it away for free, that would be great. But I do have to keep the lights going. I have to be able to continue to do the business side of Trinity Security Allies. But these are the things that I think we need to pay attention to, because we're going to see where they try to cancel you, or, you know, put a review out there that all of a sudden people just kind of look at and go, I don't know that I want to talk to these people. I mean, that's the thing that we need to be paying attention to. Bad service or something like this that you have done just to try to stop you or try to hurt you that way. Now, the other thing that we still have to look at is them showing up at church and, of course, creating some sort of chaos or havoc or disruption. And I am for sure that here in this next year, we're probably going to see a lot more. I just hope and pray that we just see disruptions and not what we saw down in Houston. So thanks for coming out. I'm going to run through a couple of slides here of upcoming events we have coming up. I mean, we've got training everywhere. We're really, really excited about this. February 27th at 6:30 to 9, we're going to be at Lakewood Church at 475 East Lake Road in Tarpon Springs. They're looking at doing a whole series of church safety training. And so they're going to start out with a 2-hour. They only do like a 2-hour, and they're starting out with why church safety is a must. This is just where we talk about why you do need church safety and what you should be looking for when putting together a safety team and how to set it up. Tuesday, March the 19th from 6:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m., we're going to be down in Vine Life Christian Church in Brooksville. 375 South Broad Street, Brooksville. Great church. There's great people down there. If you're in the area of Brooksville, please come out. We're going to be talking about protect your assets. Now, this is one of those, this is a training that a church asked me to kind of go through when it is okay to put your hands on somebody. That's a big topic of discussion. And so what we did, we took one video in particular and broke it down of when you would be okay to use force and when you would not. And of course, what we do is we use the Florida State Code on the use of force to kind of break it down to show what it is all about, and when you cannot use force. On Saturday, March the 23rd, 8 o'clock a.m. to 12:30, we're going to be doing a church and personal safety event hosted by First Christian Church in Wakulla, Florida. Now, this is to my Panhandle friends or up in that area. Those of you that have now joined us, we're going to be at First Christian Church at 1121 Louisiana Street in Wakulla, Florida. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. And then Saturday, May the 4th from 9 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m., Church and Personal Safety hosted by Gonzales Methodist Church. This, once again, is up in the Pensacola area. We're really excited. We're now in the Panhandle. That's just something that we've been wanting to do for some time, and now we're up there. So we're excited about being up in that area. This is Gonzales Methodist Church at 2026 Pauline Street in Cantonment, Florida, and we'll be doing church and personal safety hosted by the Gonzales Methodist Church. Now, you can find all these on our website. You can also find these free resources, putting together a safety plan, developing a safety team, carrying weapons in church, and Sunday morning, what to look for. These are all out on our webpage. It's very easy to go out and pick it up, and you can just read these documents that might help you get started with the safety team. Please go to Rumble and sign up, join, and look for us. True Christian Talk. Kevin Haggerty and I go live every Thursday to talk about something that we see that may affect a church or may affect Christians in the world. Today we talked about the He Gets Us commercials. There was a lot of controversy on one of them, and we just kind of like broke it down, what we saw, the things that we did like about it, the things that we didn't like about it. but we just kind of talked about the different things that we're seeing out here in the world that really may affect the church or your life, your Christianity life. Now, one of the things that we really started pushing with USCCA is that they come in and they kind of explain to you more that this is self-defense insurance. If you have to put your hands on somebody in church to defend your pastor or some of your congregation, this insurance would cover you in that too. Also, if you carry, I wouldn't carry a weapon unless I had some sort of protection, and they're the ones that I depend upon. They're the ones that I recommend. And if you have any questions, you can contact me, and I'll put you in touch with our representative here, Rob Napolitano, and he can help you out. I want to thank you for coming out. If there's anything that we can do for you, pray for you, anything that you might need in this environment, in the church safety, or just like I said, wanting to talk to somebody about something. I had a person that called me today or contacted me and said they wanted to talk to me about an issue that they had at their church and a lot of red flags that they saw. So we're here for you. Go out to our webpage, trinitysecurityallies.com, and you can contact us, and we'll respond and make sure that, you know, we're helping you protect the flock and be the watchman on the walls. Thank you again. Be safe out there and be blessed. God bless you.